Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now. Chase Senior here with you. Hope you all had a phenomenal weekend and your weeks are off to a great start. We have another loaded show coming your way. According to an NFL insider, is Howie Roseman going to make yet another move? That is on the table for him to potentially bulk up this roster even more after the Jacorian Bennett trade and the John Metchie trade. It's crazy. Howie Roseman, a true wheeler and dealer. I'm also going to explain why the Philadelphia Eagles made that trade for John Metchie yesterday. Is this A.J. Brown injury more serious than what the Eagles are saying? And then we'll also do a training camp reaction. Cooper DeJean getting snaps at outside corner. And what did Vic Fangio say about that cornerback 2 competition? It's all coming up. But I do want to start here. This goes down as yet another Howie Roseman trade. And he has this unbelievable track record of making all of these moves in the month of August alone, and we'll get to that here in just a moment. In case you missed the breaking news video that I did yesterday inside the whip, the Eagles receiving John Metchie, a 2026 sixth-round pick, and then the Texans receiving tight end Harrison Bryant, who wasn't going to make this team in all likelihood, in addition to a 2026 fifth-round pick. Of note with those draft picks there, the Eagles and Texans are getting the picks back that they both traded away in the C.J. Gardner-Johnson for Kenyon Green deal. And here is a look at all of the moves that Howie Roseman has made in the month of August alone, just with trades. And a lot of people want to know, Chase, why do you talk about these trade rumors? These deals are never going to happen. It's never going to ring true. This is why we talk about trade buzz on this show, because this is Howie Roseman's MO. And history shows oftentimes he's going to make a move in order to improve this Eagles roster. In 2021, they traded for their QB2 in Gardner Minshew, and the backup quarterback spot behind Jalen Hurts was a problem. In 2021, also traded Matt Pryor. In 2022, traded JJ Arcega-Whiteside. They admitted that they made a failure with that selection in the second round. JJ Arcega-Whiteside was a bust. Eagles got rid of him. And then in that same month of August, Howie Roseman traded for and then traded Ugo Amadi. He acquired C.J. Gardner-Johnson right before the year because the Eagles had a need at that safety position. That paid big dividends. Then he traded away Jalen Reagor and admitted to that pick as a first-round selection wasn't a good one for Howie Roseman. He traded for Albert Okwuegbunam in 2023, and then in 2024, traded for Jahan Dotson, and here in August of 2025, traded for Jacorian Bennett, who could start opposite of Quinyon Mitchell, and now has traded for wide receiver John Metchie. What's crazy is that the Eagles have gone on to acquire 7 of the top 51 selections of the 2022 NFL Draft. Drafted Jordan Davis, traded for Kenyon Green, traded for Jahan Dotson, traded for Kenny Pickett, brought in Steen, traded for John Metchie, drafted Cam Jurgens. It's nuts what Howie Roseman does, and he does this because he wants to bring in the most talented players that he can. And Zach Berman, who now covers the Eagles for The Athletic, formerly of PHLY, put out some great info and great insight on X that I do want to pass along to all of the real ones. The Eagles now have 8 players who finished their college careers at Alabama. Jihaad Campbell, Landon Dickerson, Cam Latu, Eli Ricks, DeVonta Smith, Tyler Steen, Byron Young, and John Metchie. That does not include Jalen Hurts and Keilan Robinson, who both played at Alabama and transferred. Hurts to Oklahoma, Keilan Robinson to Texas. To put this in perspective, from 2003 to 2020, the Eagles did not draft a player directly from Alabama. As recently as 2020, the year before the Eagles drafted DeVonta Smith and Landon Dickerson, the only player on the Eagles roster who finished his college career at Alabama was Ross Piersbacher. Never even heard of him in my life. Why does Howie Roseman do this? Because he wants to load up the roster with as much talent as possible, and he wants to compile a team where you get the best players from the best programs who play in the stiffest of competition at the college football level. And an underrated note here, when these players are playing at programs like Alabama, and obviously a lot has been made about Howie's obsession with Georgia, when you're taking players who play for these major college football programs, and you look at Alabama, for instance, in that area of Alabama, Tuscaloosa, the Crimson Tide are the major professional sports team in that state. They have nothing else. And so the community takes that football program and that football team very seriously. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of noise. And so when these players go from Tuscaloosa or Athens to Philadelphia, that type of citywide pressure is nothing to them because they've dealt with that at places like Alabama, inside the SEC. And I do think that's really important. And that's something that I was saying back when I was at WNEP prior to coming here at Chat Sports, that Howie Roseman was trying to be the smartest guy in the room. He was trying to outsmart other GMs. And in the process, he was overthinking things. Don't take Jalen Reagor. Take Justin Jefferson. Howie Roseman said on Bussin' with the Boys, he has learned from that mistake. And the Eagles probably don't win 2 Super Bowls if he hadn't made that mistake. And he now realizes, just take the best players from the best programs. Don't overthink it. And when you do that, obviously it helps you on the field. But it helps those players make the transition from college when they're in these pressure-packed environments, when fans are rabid, to come into Philadelphia when they have to deal with a lot of those same elements. Now, of course, with John Metchie, there is a big question here. A lot of fans are wondering, why did the Philadelphia Eagles even make this trade for John Metchie when the wide receiver position for this football team is a strength? Few reasons here that come to mind. I think the value of John Metchie for Harrison Bryant, too good for Howie Roseman to pass up, and he's always looking to extract the best value in all of these trades. Metchie also isn't a bad player. His lack of production at the NFL level is because, in my eyes, he hasn't been in an ideal situation. First of all, missed his rookie year because he got diagnosed with leukemia, and since then, he has been hidden on the depth chart with all of these really good wide receivers in front of him. And I think that Metchie is going to be able to come to Philadelphia and impress a lot of people. What's important here is that he has familiarity with Jalen Hurts, has familiarity with DeVonta Smith. So he's going to be able to learn this system, and he's going to be able to connect with the most important person that he has to connect with, and that's the quarterback in Jalen Hurts. Metchie was also one of the filthiest route runners in that 2022 draft class, and there have been some really impressive reps that he's put on tape, whether it be in games or in practices, of him putting DBs into a turnstile. He was the 44th overall pick in the 2022 draft for a reason. This guy has a lot of ability, and Howie Roseman is bringing in a player who is only 24 years old. The Eagles have done a great job the last few years with their player development program of maximizing players, especially players who have ability. And John Metchie certainly has that. The Eagles could also here be worried about A.J. Brown's hamstring. It has been 17 days as of this Monday that A.J. Brown has not practiced for Philadelphia. The Eagles could also look to make another move. And this deal for Metchie could be a part of another transaction that Howie Roseman is thinking about here. The Eagles could look to trade away Jahan Dotson, especially if that gets them good value back. Dotson is in a contract year. Philadelphia also wants to develop a wide receiver 3 for 2026 and beyond. And good businesses always have foresight. They always plan ahead. And Metchie, because he missed his rookie year, he was put on the non-football injury list. So he is going to be a restricted free agent after this year. And so he could be under team control for the next 2. Lastly, Metchie makes this wide receiver room better. Anaya Smith, Johnny Wilson, Darius Cooper, they have all had good training camps and preseasons. But are they better than Metchie? Metchie has more upside than those guys, and he has more experience than those players, which could benefit Philadelphia here in 2025. So grade this John Metchie trade. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know. Judge it for me down in the comment section. I'm interested to see what people say about the latest Howie Roseman move. Still to come here on Eagles Now, I want to get to this topic here. According to a report from an NFL insider, Howie Roseman might not be done. So stay tuned for that. We'll talk about this A.J. Brown injury and a lot of takeaways from the most recent training camp preseason practice for the Birds. Before we do that, I want to give a shout out to our great sponsor, Chubbies, for making today's Philadelphia Eagles Now possible. They are back for the 2025 NFL season, and we are so happy to have them on board here at Chat Sports. Skies out, thighs out. You want to look good as summer winds down? You got to do it with Chubbies. And you can see their products for yourself at chubbyshorts.com/chatsports. I am wearing this Eagles polo. It comes from Chubbies, and you can check that out on their website as well. Summer is winding down, but there is still time to enhance your wardrobe. And you know the motto, look good, feel good. Whether it's getting the Line Swim collection from Chubbies or some shorts that you want to wear, and whether you're poolside, lakeside, oceanside, on that long-awaited vacation, Chubby swim trunks are ready to travel. Life is too short for uncomfortable swim trunks. So these swim trunks are set up for all-day comfort with a quick-dry stretch fabric and a built-in liner that actually does its job. No more chafing, no more soggy butt, no more mesh disasters. And when the sun goes down and you're heading from the beach to dinner, or you're going out on a date night, you're hitting the golf course, swap into a pair of everywhere shorts. They fit right, feel right, and they go with everything. And after wearing them once, you'll find yourself wondering why you even own other shorts. So for a limited time, use our exclusive code. It's Chat Sports. $10 off at chubbyshorts.com/chatsports. Let the thighs out. Let the good times roll. And if you want a Chubby's Performance polo, you're good to go. You can get that as well. Perfect for brunch, a backyard party. If you're accidentally crashing a wedding, you're hitting the golf course, getting some drinks with the boys, going to an Eagles game. chubbyshorts.com/chatsports. All right, let's get to this. Howie Roseman in the month of August has traded for cornerback Jacorian Bennett and yesterday made that move for wide receiver John Metchie. Is he about to make another move? There is buzz around the league that Howie Roseman could make another trade. Jordan Schultz, NFL insider, with this tweet yesterday after Philadelphia traded for Metchie. Text from an AFC GM. Don't think the Eagles are done with trades. They have so many picks next year, and that team is always going to be aggressive. Of course, the question now becomes, who and what could that trade be for if Howie Roseman does have another move up his sleeve? The biggest need on this Eagles roster, in my opinion, and the biggest question mark and concern that I have, it's cornerback. So what Philadelphia could do, you traded for John Metchie. You really like Darius Cooper. Anaya Smith, Johnny Wilson have been awesome in the preseason. Could you package Jahan Dotson, who's in a contract year, and a corner who's on your roster for another corner like a Denzel Ward of the Cleveland Browns? There's been some chatter there. Or could Howie Roseman make a blockbuster move like a trade for Trey Hendrickson? According to Tom Pelissero, no deal is imminent. The Bengals have not signed Trey Hendrickson to a new contract, and the NFL's reigning sack leader is available for the right price. If the Eagles don't like the current status of their pass rush because they're leaning on young players and Nolan Smith and Jalen Hunt, and they have some concerns about depth with players like Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uche, could Howie Roseman shock the NFL, swoop in, and trade for Trey Hendrickson? And I'll add this too. If you make a trade for Trey Hendrickson now, the value that the Bengals are going to get back here as we trend toward the end of August is not going to be as high as a trade would have costed the Bengals back earlier this offseason. Do not sleep on Howie Roseman making a move like that because, as we know, he really values pass rushers. Before we continue to push forward on today's show, if the Eagles make a move, we're going to talk about it. Like yesterday, I'm driving around, Eagles trade for John Metchie, I pull over, I record a show from the whip. You just got to do what you got to do. I am here to provide you with the best Eagles coverage every single day year-round, so don't forget to hit that sub button. We are 551 people away from 125,000 subscribers, so lock us in. Hit that subscribe button today. All right, let's round out with an A.J. Brown injury update, and then we'll do some training camp notes as well. What is going on with A.J. Brown? One of the top 5 wide receivers in the game. Since that trade for him in 2022 on draft night, he has completely transformed this Eagles offense. The 1-2 punch between Jalen Hurts and A.J. has been an unstoppable duo at that quarterback wide receiver spot. And it has been 17 days since he last practiced after suffering that hamstring issue. Now, the Eagles are being extremely careful here because they know the value and the importance that A.J. has with this Eagles offense. There are also complexities with the hamstring. It's a soft tissue injury. And so if you re-aggravate that, it could cause A.J. Brown to be out even longer. A.J. of note also has a history with hamstring problems. He missed 4 games during the 2024 season with a hamstring issue. There is this report from Mike Garafolo, which could lead to people not being overly concerned. I don't sense any great concern about Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown's hamstring with 3 weeks to go until they face the Cowboys in the season opener. And hopefully, it's not a big concern. A plus here for Philadelphia, they do still have some time. The season opener against the Dallas Cowboys is going to be on September 4th. And as we record this show on August 18th, there is some time to get A.J. Brown right. What you don't want to see happen is to see A.J. Brown re-aggravate that, and then he's out for a long period of time because that will severely hamper this Eagles passing attack. Some training camp notes and a training camp reaction. Let's get to it here. Vic Fangio, Eagles defensive coordinator, saying today that everybody is even at cornerback 2 right now. That doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in me because that tells me nobody's pulled away with that job. Nobody is the clear-cut favorite to start opposite of Kenyon Mitchell, and nobody's been good enough to take the reins. You know that saying, if you have multiple good quarterbacks, you don't have one good one. Well, in this case, is that the case with the Eagles cornerback 2 spot? You have multiple cornerback 2s, meaning they don't have a good one? Continues to be a huge question mark for this team going into 2025. Vic Fangio also said that Cooper DeJean has started to get some work there. Now, he said as of right now, he's not going to be the starting outside corner opposite of Kenyon, and the plan isn't to do that. But I think it's notable that Cooper DeJean, who hasn't played outside corner since Iowa, is now starting to get work at outside corner. And he got a lot of work there during the Monday practice session. Vic Fangio is clearly trying to see if DeJean can win that job. But he also added somebody's going to have to step up to man that slot role. When DeJean was outside, it was Andrew Makuba at the safety position. Preseason game against Cleveland on Saturday, he was probably one of the lone bright spots, right? 75-yard pick 6 and recover that fumble. He's always around the ball, 11 PBUs and 5 picks last year at Texas. That's just what Andrew Makuba does. As for Darius Cooper, the UDFA wide receiver out of Tarleton State, he ran with the ones today and caught a pass from Jalen Hurts. So yesterday, I was so surprised by this Metchie trade. I'm like, is Darius Cooper now not going to make the team? I highly doubt that with teams cutting down their rosters to 53 players a week from tomorrow, that if Darius Cooper is running with the ones, that in about a week he's going to get cut. I think he's on this football team, but is Anaya Smith now on the roster bubble? Is Johnny Wilson not going to make the team? Do the Eagles hold on to 7 wide receivers? Something is up with what Howie Roseman is doing here. And then Darius Cooper also beat Keely Ringo twice, catching both passes from Tanner McKee. Good reps there from the UDFA. Something that we've been wanting to see. Rookie first-round pick Jihaad Campbell lining up next to Zach Bond at off-ball linebacker. That is a look at the future of the inside linebacker spot for Philadelphia, even though Jeremiah Trotter Jr. has had a really good training camp. Also of note, E.J. Jenkins was tight end 3 over Keilan Granson. And so he might be ahead of Granson in the pecking order on the Eagles depth chart. And then lastly, Jalen Hurts in the pass game. Really crisp. It was probably the best that the passing game has looked in about a week. They really struggled going up against the Cleveland Browns. They made the necessary adjustments and improvements, and Jalen Hurts was really good here today, earning an A grade. Be sure to give me a follow on X and Instagram at Chase_senior. I'm always talking Eagles here. I'm always talking Eagles over there as well.